Okay, so if I get your question correctly, um, you're saying that um, you registered to start your program as an online student, and it's not reflected on your I-20. Did I get the question correct? Okay, so to quickly answer that question, it won't reflect because if you look at your start term is in August, which is a new start term. Assuming that you are joining us this summer and you're joining us this summer and your visa is in this summer and you have paid that amount, then it will reflect on your I-20. But you have two cost of attendance. You have the online cost of attendance and you have the in-person cost of attendance. So whatever you pay goes to your in online cost of attendance. Now, based on your case, as you've started your program online, this help a lot in your visa interview. You have upper chances. Now, some people, although that doesn't guarantee 100% that your visa will be approved, what it matters is your presentation. If your presentation is not well grinded, trust me, some other things might happen, which I wouldn't want to say that. But the point is, you must be able to present your case with the embassy or with the visa officer in a logical flow. So please, when your visa is approved, when you know the exact date, let me know ahead so that I can have a one-on-one section with you. For you that you've actually started your program online, there is a way we can work on your presentation when you go to the embassy, because there are some few things that will be coming to their head, like, okay, yes, you've started online, so why don't you finish your program online? And majority of people will just go to the embassy and start saying that, I started the program, I'm an online student, I started the program online. No, you have to table your case in a well logical flow. That's just it. So we will get to that. I will try to cover that area today as well. Let me note it. Thank you for letting me know. Maybe we have some other people that they've started their program online and they are joining us in person, and they are joining us in person in August 2024, but they started online. So this will actually benefit them. So I will personally take the section of those that are going to start online. So um, thank you very much for bringing that. Have I been able to answer your question, or do you still have other concern about that? All right. So any other question? We have 1 more minute, and I'm gonna close the section for the online, and we will start our program. Yes, I can hear you. This is Hakeem. Wait. Starting in April. Oh, okay, okay. Because when you said it started in April, I was like, April. Okay, maybe you are still in April. I don't know the country where you are, so maybe you're still. Oh, you're in Ghana. Maybe they're in April in Ghana now. I'm not trying to. No problems. I'm just messing with you. Yes. What program are you coming for? PhD Organizational Management. Okay. All right. Yes, but my PhD is educational administration. All right, my PhD is in educational administration. Okay, so you want to know how enjoying the program is? Is that your question? Oh, you want how stressful you should anticipate. Okay. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'll share my screen. I want to show you guys something real quick. Um, okay, 1 minute. Um, can you all see my screen, please? Can you s- can you see my? That person should mute. Who is that? Hello, can that person mute the something is? Yep. Thank you. Chrome. Can you see my screen now? What's happening? I'm trying to. How about now? It should come up now because I can see. I can. It's showing on my page right now. Yeah, I think it's good to see my face. Yeah. Can you see it now? Because it's working perfectly well from my own end. Okay. So okay, it's because I'm working from home. Okay. Let's see. View programs. Okay. Um so for PhDs, right? I just want to show you something real quick about this. You said organizational management. So usually for everyone as well, that you want to have one or two things to say about your program. If you're being asked, I should tell them more about your program. There's something I really want to tell you. You don't really need to stress yourself in um you don't really need to stress yourself in, oh, let me tell me let me know the professor, let me know this. I'm not saying it's not a bad idea or is not something that you shouldn't do. If you have the time, you can do that. I want you to know that, like I said, packaging is part of your visa interview. Packaging visa interview. So you should be able to package yourself very well. So if I'm the one coming for PhD organization, like you said, and maybe I want to talk more about program. So the only thing I need to know are the courses. You come to the curriculum section, and which topic am I even thinking of? And how many credit hour is the program? So the program you're coming for is organizational management. And to everyone who is not a PhD student, trust me, this you can find that on your page. That person should mute. Hello, somebody's on mute. I'm going to mute this person. So sorry, Manuel, I'm going to mute you. We are hearing a background noise that is not friendly. So like I was saying, uh, s- s- so is this? I don't know what this is. I'm going to mute you. All right. Sorry, guys. Everyone, if you have a background noise, please let's organize ourselves. It's drawing attention back. So, like I said, whatever program you guys are coming for, just click on the column. You have everything. that you need to know about the program you're coming for here. And here are the courses. You have the degree requirement, you have the courses that you must pass before you get to PhD um, management dissertation courses, like before you get to all your dissertation. So if you want to know, you have to come here and read more. But generally speaking, um, you must complete all your coursework. So all those courseworks, you must complete them, and before you proceed to your comprehensive exam. So this comprehensive exam right here, it's an exam, it's an 0 credit, but it's a credit you must pass, because if you do not pass this comprehensive exam, you won't be able to move to your dissertation stage. So these are the courses. So if I were you, I'll just go ahead, check all through the programs, and um get myself ready for my visa interview. Now, sometimes you let me say, the visa officer might not ask you directly, tell me more about your program. Like I said last week, always think ahead of the visa officers. Or so whatever question they are asking you, you must demonstrate that yes, you know what you are coming to do, or you know much about your topic. So if they ask me, so tell me, why are you going to the United States? Well, I'm going to the United States for, I'm going to the United States to further my career in a doctorate degree. So here is it. I said something the last time that you should be able to use some words that they are very um, directional. No, not directional, rather that they are very straight. So I would use doctorate degree, and I will use PhD. This is how I'm going to merge it together, because I believe that you might not hear doctorate very well. Maybe you might be thinking I'm going for a doctor, but I believe a deaf man should know what PhD means. So if I want to match the two together, I will say, oh, I'm going for my PhD degree. I mean, my doctorate degree in organizational management. This is a 73 credit hours, and this is essential because of the nature of my job. I currently work with Globacom Telecommunications System as their operating management manager. Having this degree will beneficial for me. The PhD program, this is it, that are relevant to the advanced understanding of organization. So it is from here you're going to pick out one or two points that you will need to justify yourself. So I'm just answering your question both in an interview section and the question you asked. So general wise, PhD program generally it's not it's purely research. So you are to write. You must be able to synthesize. You must be able to use your APA format. I'm pretty sure that there is a student among us here who started online, yeah, as a PhD student, and she's planning to join us in August. So she can tell you how the PhD has been, because every blessed day I receive a WhatsApp message that how um this program is drilling. It is drilling, my brother. It is drilling, but you'll be fine. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Any other question before we move to today's section? At the absence of no other questions, let's go straight. Hello, everyone. Today we continue our program, or let me say the meeting that we had last week. I hope all you can hear me, right? Please confirm. Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, great. So for the purpose of those that they were unable to make it last week for the section, I would say that you haven't missed anything, because you can actually check it on my YouTube and you can always watch it back. So last week we talked about the holistic of how or who the visa officers are. I said that they are trained psychologists who has 30% that yes, I'm going to deny you. That's what is in their head. And Come over and convince me why I should not deny you. That is what is in their head. They also have it at the back of their mind that if even if they know the economic situation of your country, they know that yes, you want to go have this education, and convince me that you have a strong home tie, convince me that you're coming back to your country when you're done with your program, convince me why your family are going with you, convince me how you're going to be resourceful to the United States, and convince me for the short period of time that you'll be staying in the US, how do you intend to finance your studies? How do you intend to finance yourself, which is the living expenses? And what are your short and long term goals? So these are the things that they already articulated. And there is an important document which must not be submitted anyhow. I used to tell people, which is your DS 160. You keep reviewing it, keep checking. Don't be in a hurry to submit that information. And I used to tell people, even if you give it out for someone to fill for you, which is actually not ideal, but I understand that sometimes network or consuming or professional wise, yeah, it's fine. But be on top of the game. I mean, be on top of your document, which is the second point. Get familiarize yourself with your documents. I-20. I have a couple of friends that probably they're doing this for their family. Um, I always tell them that allow the main applicants to be an interference. I mean, to be interfering rather. Sorry, to be interfering to get familiar with the document, because if you are actually doing it for maybe your spouse, maybe your spouse is busy, and you feel, oh, you can always let your spouse knows the situation of things. Okay, we've done this. This is that. At the point of interview, when they ask cost of attendance, the applicants might be talking about uh, we are not giving yet, and you that you are familiar with the document, you just be like, no, this is a. But if you are in that situation at your point of interview, at that point, you need to show um a sense of you have to show you have to demonstrate that yes, you both are together, you're one. So in a situation like that, you notice that your spouse is not giving the right answer that you feel, you shouldn't say sorry, don't mind her. No, I know we won't do that. The best thing you can say, oh, what my wife or what my husband, because yes, the husband might be an outspoken person, might be the one that is facing it, while the spouse is actually maybe busy taking care of the family, which is normal, it's perfect. But let both of you do that rehearsal. Let the spouse know that very well, the document. So in that situation, you just tell the visa officer and be like, oh, what my wife is trying to tell you, ma'am, is that these is, then you now put it in a very concise way. So you are allowed to do that, but you are not going to be the main communicator with the visa officer. It is the principal applicant. So please, if you have your family on the application, be guided. Let them get themselves familiarized with it. So we talk about that, and we talk about the arrangement of the documents. So which I use my own experience to group them into three. I named them as somebody changed the name, which was okay. Embassy folder. I remember embassy folder. Um, we have the supporting document folder, and we have other supporting document folder. So, what are these documents that is going to be in the embassy document folder? This folder is just going to help you to arrange your documents in a very organized way so that you won't get to the appointment, your interview date, and you start having issue when they ask you, can we see your appointment confirmation page? And you start having, oh, okay, here's it. But when you know the embassy folder, You know that any questions they are going to ask, any documents rather, they are going to ask you at the point of entry at the embassy, when you go into the visa officer, those are the documents they are going to ask, such as, not limited to, one, your I-20. So it's a folder. So it's your I-20, a signed I-20, which is the folder one. Inside that folder one, we have your DS-160 confirmation page. If you haven't submitted your DS-160, please try to do so at least 72 hours to your um, appointment. By then, I'm very sure that you might have get everything perfectly well. So I always tell people, don't rush to submit. Just go in and always be making changes, maybe every week, every 2 weeks. Just make changes, because you might just be sitting or probably on your Instagram, and maybe these agrovisas people, you just heard something. Oh, I think I need to amend this. You can easily go back. And for those that have submitted, you can always feel and you have not um schedule your appointment. So it's not a problem. If you have schedule as well, you can go back, refill. If you notice one or two things, go back, refill it. Ensure that you get yourself familiarized with your DS-160 form. And that is what the visa officer is going to be using to ask you question. Sometimes they ask above that, and sometimes they can see it and they will still be asking you questions like, do you have a family member in the United States? On your DS-160, you selected no. But that the way the visa officer ask, it's like, yes, I have a visa. I have my uncle in the United States." And the visa officer not even concluded, proceeded by saying, "Okay, so how do you intend to finance this?" When you finish, "Oh, my brother, my visa is gonna swap off me," I said, "Oh, sorry, you are not um approved for this visa." Now, in your head, you will be thinking, it's talking about my support, my finance. But have you ever asked yourself, are you saying exactly what you feel on that DS-160? So it is very important. And I used to tell people that, please, it is not about your um um it's not about, oh, I can talk. It's about prayer. It's about what you believe in. It's about your boldness and how well you can articulate your point. So the DS-160 is a very strong information, because here is it. Let's say you all are you are all new person. You haven't even gotten to know about Carolina University. You haven't even submitted your application. You haven't done your evaluation. You haven't been given admission, not to talk about secure your admission. And you decided um to go for your visa interview. When you decided to submit an application, the visas officers, the US, does not even know who you are. Maybe Stephanie, Ahmed, Adewani, they don't even know you. That's the point. The second point is, immediately you submit your application to the school, you've started the process. And immediately you get admitted, you proceeded. The third is, immediately you get your I-20 and you pay that service fee. Then your record is on the system. Trust me, that's it. Immediately you pay the service fee, your record is on the US system. Now, when you fill the DS-160, they still don't know who you are, the type of job you do, who your father is, who your mother is, your education background. I'm talking about the consular. I'm not talking about the school. They don't even know you. But immediately you submit that DS-160, it means you have exposed yourself to them that, hey, this is Hakeem Nafiu. This is me. And you are not going to the embassy with the form you completed. You are going with the DS-160 confirmation page. So you must get yourself familiarized with your form. And here is it. In case you are not sure of a question, and that is where intellect comes in and smartness comes in. You are not sure of what you feel, it can happen. Maybe anxiety, if it is your first timer, it's normal. You don't need to worry yourself about that. In case you're not sure of your answer, for instance, you are not sure if it is yes or no you feel on a particular question and you're being asked, elaborate yourself in a way that is going to mean yes and no. For instance, if I'm being asked, maybe I'm not sure what I put yes or no if I have family friend or family in the US. So the question, the answer, okay, so do you have any family do you have any relative? That's what he's going to say. Any relative in the US. What I'm going to say is, I'm not sure what I feel. If I'm in that shoe, I will say that, oh, well, I do not have any immediate relatives in the US, but I technically believe that my old classmates are in the US. They are two different things. I said classmates, he said relative. And on the DS-160, it says, do you have immediate relatives? Do you have other relatives? So you just have to come up with your smartness. So that's just, so please, like I said, that DS-160 is a very important document that you should not rush to submit, review, ensure that someone also check for you. If you are coming with your family, let the spouse also check. Just, oh, do I not even know what you feel? That you don't need to know what I feel. Just check. Just check. Even if you are the dependent, just check. It's good to double check so that yes, you'll be sure that you've captured everything. Because you might be looking at something facially while some will be looking at behind it. So it actually it works. So the DS-160 is very important. Then your service fee receipt. Last week I showed you how to get to the service fee receipts if the service have been paid. And I don't know, let me, for the purpose of those that were not available last week, so let's quickly have a presentation towards that to show you how to go about um please. Hello, can you see my screen? Okay, good. So you can come to Google. I always like using Google. You just type FMJ free and you can put service or the first one, and here is it, FMJ free. Once you click on it, so the visitor program. So now there are some countries that you cannot pay your service fee directly using your debit card. You have to contact someone or try to do it through Western Union. So in order to do that, you come to the pay I-901, but you won't able to know if you will be able to pay that until you input all your details. As you input your details, it's going to tell you that um yes, you can pay this or you cannot pay with your card. But whoever is going to help you to pay must first complete this process. There is a coupon they need to generate. Once they generate that coupon, it is that coupon they will take to a Western Union workshop to pay for the service fee. So, and if they tell you that they have paid, probably you're using a family member, or relative, or friend, you don't need to worry yourself. Even if they use their email, you must ensure that the service number and the account number generated from I-901 fee website is actually intact. Once that's correct and they inform you that they have paid, you just click on check I-901 status, put in your service, put in the last name, I mean your surname, put in your date of birth and check the status. It's going to tell you if it is paid or not. If it is paid, click on confirmation. There's going to be a page on confirmation. Click on that confirmation and your receipt will be out. The email you receive that they have made the payment, that is not the receipt. You have to come back to this website to generate your payment and ensure that they help you to pay at least a week to your visa interview. At least a week to your visa interview. But if you needed to apply for an emergency date, for you to get an emergency date, you must pay that service fee before you pay sorry before you apply for your emergency. So service fee receipt is another important document that must be on embassy folder. Another document, I've mentioned I-20 DS-160 service fee, is your international passport, not the photocopy this time around, but the main booklet. The main booklet. That's what your international passports. Please do not forget that. And we usually pray that they should accept your international passport. They should collect it. Let me put it that way, so that they don't return it back to you at that moment. That's the prayer. That's the prayer. So you won't want to go with your without the passport or photocopy. No, the main booklet. And another is this is based on countries. So like Africa generally, I'm very sure that you are to present a two digital passport photograph. So I encourage other countries to check with their local embassy. And how do you even check your local embassy to know the requirements? It's pretty straightforward. Let me see if I can help you with that. All you need to do is let's use the same window. Um, so I like I said, use Google and just come here. If I because I go to that site often, so if I type CGI, it takes me straight. Like I already have it on, but you can type apply for your use visa and put your country. So come to new users. When you come to new users, it's going to tell you the list of the country that can use this portal. It will tell you the list of the countries that can. Majority of people always reach out to me and ask me if I can help them with it. I'm always very careful when it comes to matter of this appointment page or this part, because any mistake will fall back. So I don't know if you see to tell you Algeria, Brain, Bangladesh, Bulgaria, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, and so on. So if you could not find your country on that list, then what you would do is you reach out, you Google it. There might be a particular portal. For instance, people from Dubai, they are not using this page to schedule an appointment. People that they are planning to schedule from China or probably Canada, I'm pretty sure so Malaysia. So you just have to check that to ensure what are the requirements about your country. So you once you put it on Google, what are the requirements for US embassy, they'll bring it out. So for Africa, we have two digital passport photograph. So we have one, two, three, four, five, and your visa fee receipt. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six. They are actually seven. So I need someone to actually tell me the last one. Anyone? So I've mentioned I-20, DS-160 confirmation page, service fee, international passports, two digital passports, photograph, and visa fee receipt. There's still one more document, a very important one, a very important one. Thank you. Your appointment confirmation page. I purposely didn't mention that as number one because I wanted to see who is actually following me. And you are not to take your DS-160 form to the embassy. We are talking about the document you're to take to the embassy. And we group those documents into three folders. The first folder is what I'm mentioning. We have the embassy folder. The second one is your supporting document folder, while the third one is other supporting document folder. So when you're talking about the embassy folder, which is the embassy documents, we have the I-20, which you must sign. We have the DS-116. We have the service fee receipt. We have the international passport data page. We have the two digital passports. We have the visa fee receipt, and we have your appointment confirmation page. And I said something last week. There is a number under the DS-160 confirmation page. It must tally with your um visa your appointment page. Here is the reason. Majority of us would have a DS-160 confirmation number. We quickly design one to secure an appointment. Maybe something happened, you couldn't log in back, and you forgot to change the DS-160 confirmation number on your appointment page. And that's where the problem is, because there's no synergy, there's no linkage between the two. If you go to the embassy, they won't even allow you to even get to the visa officer. They will ask you to go out and print a new confirmation number or a new DS-160. And I'm pretty sure that those roadside people will extort you at that point. They can take it 7,000, they can take it 8,000. Yeah, it's as high as they want, as $1,000. So it's always very good to organize your documents perfectly well you um before you get to the embassy section. So um so those are the embassy documents. I strongly encourage that students should check with their um country website to apply for US visa, to check for the required documents, specifically the two digital passports. Some will ask you to, I know pretty well of some countries that you have to go for your fingerprints a day before. So all these things you just have to check. Now let's talk about your supporting folder documents. This is just those documents that you will be needing to support yourself when you go for your visa interview. For instance, or let me say, such as your admission letter, the scholarship agreement that you sign to show that you have a scholarship, but if you don't have, you can improvise documents you don't have. Then you don't need the affidavits or the cost of attendance. That those ones are school document. They've uploaded it on the USCIS website, so it's okay for you. Um, the sponsor details. If you're going with your family, yourself, go with those bank statement and ensure that you have the stated money is in it. Here's it. And even we all know that they hardly request for documents. But what if your own case is exemptional? Have you ever thought about it? A friend will tell you, oh, they don't even ask your document, they won't collect your document. But trust me, the person that went yesterday, as he was talking, and he said, oh, you have your leave of absence? And when did you say you started your program? And started working at the I said, last year November. And they actually approved your leave of absence. And I said that last week, as if I knew that here they always believe you have a longer period with them before you are being allowed to go and study. So and he said, "Oh yes, they gave me. Oh, can I say it? Look at that." And that's the only document that the visa officer asked. And just look at it. I said, "Oh, that's good." And he handed it back. And before then, I was even part of the people that tells that they don't usually accept document or collect document. But I never mentioned that you shouldn't go with it. So you will be on a safer side that if anything happens, let's say they ask, "Oh, you said your father make about $200 million a year." Oh, really? And you have the bank statement? Oh, can I say? Or you claim you are married, you're going as a single person, or let me say you're going alone and you are married, you're not with your marriage certificates. What if he asks you at that point that, oh, I'm not with my married, oh, are you married? Oh, I'm married. I don't expect you to answer them, ah, yes, I am married. Like I said, you have to talk more to your marriage. Oh, are you married? Oh, yes, I'm beautiful and happily married, blessed with two kids. If you have children, you mention them. You mention that blessed with three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 kids, whatever many kids you have, blessed with kids. They're actually not following me right now. And my husband works with this and this. My kids are in SSJSS or high school or whatever school they have, and they are not following me because of the nature of the job of my husband. And I want my child to actually learn the culture and norms of our country. I am a career person and I have decided to further my career in PhD, in masters, in so program. And with the support of my husband, who will be sponsoring me, it has made it so seamless. See the question he asked: are you married? And here is my marriage certificate. And immediately you point it out. Here is a marriage certificate. So the essence of the supporting document is not just for you to start printing. Please, I want you guys to know that those supporting documents, the excess of it is not for you to start printing. Oh, I decide I must have this. No. The excess of this supporting document is to back up whatever you are going to say. So when you are practicing alone, please know when to introduce your admission letter, know when to introduce your scholarship, know when to introduce your bank statement, know when to introduce your leave of absence letter, know when to introduce any supporting document you are going with. Don't just talk. We all believe that they won't accept or they won't let you bring, no, they will allow you to bring document, but they might not allow you to show it or start, because they all believe that maybe the documents are not real. That's the mentality. But regardless, whatever documents you feel yes will be important to you, go along with it and add them under the supporting documents. So supporting documents can be your admission letter, your leave of absence, your bank statements, the sponsor, let me put it that way, sponsor bank statements, your um appointments. I mean, your work appointment where you are currently working. Your work appointment, yeah, is a very good supporting document to show that yes, you have a job. But if you do not have your job, you do not have a job, I said something. Packaging, package your document. Majority of us might be a self or online trader, or probably we are still looking for job, or me I actually not a fan of people not being proud of what they're doing. So far you are okay with it, you can give it an English. That's it. You can package it. If you are a self business person, register your company, have a letter headed, bring all those documents out. That's a creativity. Just ensure that those documents are legit, meaning that, oh, your company is registered, you have a letterhead. Oh, I'm a self entrepreneur. I own my own business and I've been doing this for so years. Here is my CAC document. Here is my business registration document. Here is a document that back up my company. And I have, even if you are the only one, package yourself by saying, oh yeah, and I currently have 16 workers that I paid salary, they paid their salary, and I make an annual this. So, and my business, I can work remotely, because what will be going through the visa officer's head is that if you leave behind, if you're traveling, you'll be gone for 4 years, 2 years. Who manages your doc? Who manages your company? Who manages your organization? How do you intend to roll it? So all those things need to be rolling on your head to provide those answers immediately. You don't wait. Please don't even, oh, I have my own business. You'll be expecting that the visa officer will ask you, how much do you make in a year? Or this. No, it's a wrong approach. Go straight to the point. Answer it. So far, you know what could be rolling through the visa officer's mind. So if you travel now, who manages your document? Sorry, who manages your company? Who manages, how do you intend to roll? And that's why you can work remotely, and your personal assistant is going to be on ground. Even if you don't have a personal assistant, they don't know that. Yeah, that's the point. Please, you have to be able to know what you're doing. That's it. So the third folder is, I call it other supporting document folder. Now, these other supporting documents, why I usually added the third folder is because I happened to be in a situation whereby I needed to go for an interview, and I was contemplating that, should I go with this receipt? It's just for the conference. At least if I don't pay, they won't ask me for the receipts. Like if you can't register, there are some payments, just like you scheduling an appointment. If you don't pay for the visa fee, there's no way you can schedule an appointment. But I was just like, phew. And within me, I just picked the receipt. It was in Georgia, October last year, and I just put the receipt here under my suit. And guess what? That was even the first document that was asked at the point of entrance in that conference. And people were like, oh, they didn't mention it. And I was like, excuse me, let me pass. Excuse me. And I was like, oh, I have my receipt here. And so, oh, that's great. Majority of people neglected that. Oh, since they've done the registration. So anything can happen. So that's why I said, whatever document you feel will be useful, or they might ask, or you will use it, put it under the third folder, such as, okay, so under that supporting folder 2, for those that are going for with their family, ensure to go with marriage certificates of your, yeah, the marriage certificate, of course. Yeah, birth certificate, you can put it under the fourth document, the third folder, the birth certificate of the kids. They don't need all that, and that's a bit of truth. But I wouldn't want you to leave it behind. Just go along with it. So any other documents you feel, maybe your primary school living certificates, your whatever documents you feel, oh, let me go with it. And this usually happens between couples when they are going for their family, when they are going for their visa interview. The wife will be saying, go along with this, let's go with it. I watch a YouTube person, he says they should go with this. The other, no, it's not useful. You don't need to stress yourself at that beginning stage. Give me, don't worry, put it into that third folder. At least it's still the same place you're going, so you won't have any issues with those ones. So we talk about the documents like that. So we've mentioned those three folders. I hope you guys are able to get those folders. So now, um so those are the things we actually talked about, and we made mention about the visa officers trying to read your mind, not technically reading your mind, but your response provides a guidance for them. Yeah, it's just like we are all trained psychologists. If a student send an email, we can read between the lines. We can easily determine that yes, it's kind of more professional. So you also need to put yourself in that mind, and you have to ensure that you articulate your points. Now, some people have issues with talking. I mean, when it comes to matter of composing themselves, and that's why I always tell or mention this. Before you go for your visa interview, you might have had colleagues, friends that have been to the visa embassy. You technically do not maybe need their what they ask them or the window they go to. For instance, I have a friend that went for a visa interview, and um his brother was actually denied a day before, and he was saying, don't go to window 10, you avoid window 10 all means, ensure you don't go to that window 10. So this guy's surprised it is that same window 10, and his own visa was approved. And when he got to the embassy, as he was lining up to be called, He was saying, God, I don't want Victor then. God, I don't want Victor then. Because they already projected that to your mind. And that actually will make you lose balance. Will actually make you lose, but you won't focus on, okay, how do I present my word logical for? And that's why I said it the last time. Majority of people that listen to people's transcripts, I'm not a fan of transcripts. I'm a fan of transcripts of questions, the questions they ask you, not the way you've answered them. Because you might be going alone while I'm going with my family. You might be going for a master's, I'm going for a PhD. You might be going for undergraduate, I'm going for my master's. You might have your own in maybe in Turkey, but I'm having my own in Ghana or in Bangladesh. So I always ask, the only question you're going to ask them is that, can you tell me how the environment is? What is going to be when we first get there? Oh, you will meet a woman at the entrance. The woman is going to ask you, okay, can I see if today is your appointment page? When you leave there, you're going to join a queue. They will do a biometrics. Once they do that, the next thing is they will ask you to go in. Then they will ask you to do another fingerprint or something. And by then you'll be approaching the visa officer. That thing is important because it will prepare your mind when you are eventually in that scenario, because you already know that yes, they said this is gonna there, this, whatever stress that you're passing through at that moment, you would count it as a part of your interview because you're already pre-informed. Rather than getting there and you're stretching your hand, you're like, I never knew this is how this place is gonna be. It's so stressful, this and that. And by then you're losing balance, you're losing your focus. So it's very, very important to know how the environment of the embassy looks like. It help you mentally and answer their question ahead of them in your mind within multi-seconds is very, very important. And dressing, I talk about dressing. Dress smartly. Um, Dress smartly, ensure you look good when you're going to the embassy, and whatever culture or you want to put, yeah, it's allowed. But like I said, dress smartly. If you want to put on suits, put on your suit. You can put on corporate wears. You can put your native attires. You can put in just look good. And if you are going in group, or probably you maybe let me pick someone, let's say maybe Joyce or Bang and Sharif Boateng, if I pronounce it very well. Maybe two of you, you're standing in front of yourself, and you notice that you're going to Carolina University. At that moment, Joyce, you do not know Sharif. When your visa is approved, when your boat visa is approved, you will meet in Carolina University. Oh, what did they put? How many scholarship do you have? Oh, how many percentage in it? At that moment, you are losing your balance. Just focus where you are, what you're doing. Just focus. That's it. When your visa are approved, oh, Sharif, Alpha, was your visa approved? Yes, it's approved. Yeah, congratulations. So let me see your. You can now start your. Oh, when are you planning traveling? At that moment, I pray they won't call you back. Hello, Sheriff. I think there's a mistake. I pray it won't be that. So focus is very important too when you go for your visa interview. So I hope I've been able to cover what we discussed, and I still had one or two things for this week. Let's talk about questions and how like I said, I am not an immigration expert. I'm just using my experience to assist or to tell you, okay, the way I feel that you can pass this visa interview. Um, how many of you know? Yes, I know the answer is yes. What is called I-20? The answer is yes, right? Majority of know what is called I-20, right? Okay, good. The second question is, how many of you knows how to interpret the I-20? I just need someone. I can hear anybody. So you just like, "Hey, give me my I-20. I'm going to the embassy. I need to schedule an appointment." Is that what you all know about I-20? So no one knows how to interpret an I-20. That is strange. Oh, maybe you guys do. You wanted to know more, or maybe you're thinking, "I'm going somewhere" by asking. Well, I'm actually going somewhere for asking because that will actually help you to understand how your funding is going to be um, managed. Now, there are four basic question area that they are always focusing on. Four basic questions that they are always focusing on. You see, all these four basic questions comes in different direction, but they are still the same thing. The first one, which might not be your first question, is usually, what are you going to do in the US? Now look at that question. What are you going to do in the US? A visa officer can ask you that question. And yeah, before I move forward, I said something last week and I'm still going to repeat it today. Please don't try to speak any, let me say, an English you're not comfortable with. I had to come out like this to talk so that you guys can understand me loud and clear. If I want to speak in the other tone, I know how to go about it. But I decided to come out like this so that didn't won't mean didn't to you, or did it. So avoid words like didn't it, or something that can mean another thing to the ear of the visa officer. For instance, I didn't attend. The visa officer could actually heard I did attend, but to you, you mean I did not, I didn't. So it's always better to use the word like I did not, I cannot, I could not. When you spell your English full so that we all will be on the same page. It's very, very important, please. Please. It has happened so many times, and it will be like, okay, yes, even when we communicate with other people from other country, we always repeat ourselves. Oh, do you mean this? Is this what you are trying to say? So that we paraphrase, so that we all can be on the same page. So the question is, what are you going to do in the US? That's usually the first question. Not usually, but let me say, like I use the word usually the first question. So it might not be your own first question. So, what are you going to do in the US? Can also mean, now I will generate almost like 2 to 3 question from that. What are you going to do in the US? Why US? That's another thing. You can drag it down and put why US? Why the university? On that same, what are you going to do in the US? Why the school? Why the US? Or why US? Why the program? Yeah, I've been able to bring out 3 out of what are you going to do in the US. So that's why I said I'm not a fan of transcripts. I'm a fan of questions under the transcripts. And you don't need to cram. Just go in with your own story. Your own story. That is just it. It's the best composure you would ever have. Because once you cram, oh, maybe Stephanie said it this way and Ahmed said it that way. Okay, let me use what Ahmed said. Or you guys are discussing at the point of entrance to the embassy. And what you already have in the back of your mind that you would say, you casted away with who is sponsoring Ahmed. and you went ahead to mention somebody else who is sponsoring. I've seen someone that was sitting or waiting to be called. So, but because the visa officer asked the person in front of him that who is sponsoring, and he said, "Oh, my uncle." On the I-20 it says family. He said, "Oh, my uncle." Oh, okay, your uncle, and that is it. The person in, and oh, you are not approved because that person mentioned uncle. When it is your turn, decided like, okay, then I won't say uncle. And you already have it at the back of your mind that you are going to say uncle, but you are going to defend it while your uncle is sponsoring you. And for those that they are using organization, that organization will be supporting them. Have it at the back of your mind that you must establish the reason why your organization is supporting you. Why your organization is supporting you. You must establish that. Do not wait for the officer to ask you that question. Find a way to bring it out. Find a way to spell it. That's the point. Find a way to call it out. So, like I said, the first one is usually what are you going to do in the US? So they might ask you why the US? Why the program? Why the university? Your question might even go as far as how did you get to know about the university? Might even be your first question. And you already have it at the back of your mind that they are going to ask me, what am I going to do in the US? Do you know that when they ask you, how do you get to know about the university? It's still the same as what are you going to do in the US? The way you're going to answer them is what matters. But when you know the direction where the visa officer is going for, and when they ask you a question, that is the point to start thinking. Not even you sit, relax, and okay, what is it trying to say? No, it's a matter of okay, yeah, this is the angle he's going for, and you have to give it back to the visa officer straight. That's number one question. I will try my possible best to answer them the way I feel. Like I said, I'm not an immigration officer. I stand to be corrected. But the way I feel, I will say mine if I am in your shoe. The second question is usually or not limited to who is sponsoring your education. Now, they usually use different English for this. One, they can say, how do you intend to finance this? How do you intend to finance this? Two, they can ask, who is paying for your trip? Or let's say who is paying for your academics? They can ask, how do you intend to cover the costs? So the most generalized word is usually how do you intend to finance this? You see, when they use the word that same line, that line, how do you intend to finance this? They are talking about a general um um what's it called? A general um um a general overview of how you plan to finance the all starting from trip. So for instance, who is supporting you, who is paying for the bill, who is how do you intend to finance this? Note on that DS 160, there is no place, yes, except they are updating it after this video. There is no place that is going to ask you or mention that who is financing your academics. But the question there is who is paying for your trip? Can you see the difference? Majority will go ahead to fill their sponsor on who is paying their trip. It's fine. It's good. I'm not debunking that. In fact, it's even better so that you will know that once they ask me who is paying for my trip or who is whatever who is sponsoring, I'm giving them one single person that is supporting me and covers everything. It's still better. But if you know how to articulate your point, majority of you usually puts self-support. You can claim that you, for that reason, for you putting self-sponsor, you can actually use that to cover the trip. Is another scope you can use by mentioning it. So, but like I said, if you use one person who is supporting you, it's fine. But don't get it twisted by thinking that question means who is paying for your trip. Sorry, who is paying for the academics. The question on the S160 is who is paying for your trip? And it's going to ask you, have you made specific travel plans? The answer should usually be no for an F1. And it's going to ask you, where do you intend to stay? It is usually the school address. And on your I-20, you have your point of contact. So these things are very, very straightforward to do. So um, like I said, who is sponsoring your education? So when they use the word, how do you intend to finance this? Even if they do not mention it that way, I think it's better to still talk about it. And there are some nailing words, such as you can see on my DS160, I will be the one to pay for my trip because I currently work and I've been able to save about $2,000 towards the flight to the US. But my major sponsor will be my father, who's into a farm produce. You don't need to mention the hectares. There are some things when you are lying. I'm not saying your father does not have 800 hectares, but be realistic. These people are in your country. They know what is going on in your country. They know the economic status and they are trained to learn your language. So majority of you that usually talk to yourself, it's going to do that, and you speak in your dialect. Don't forget or don't be surprised. They can speak or they can hear what you're saying. They might not be able to speak or say it out. So you have to be conscious as well. So they understand your economy, they are in your country. If your economic is stable, they know about it. If it is not stable, they know about it. So the only thing you need to do is package and make it more realistic. Oh, my father is into farm produce. He is a farmer. Look the way I'm splitting it. My father is into farm produce. He is a farmer. Somebody can be into a farm produce and he won't be a farmer. You can see you are trying to don't think about any other thing on your head. That is what you are telling the visa officer. I'm telling you that my father is a farmer. That's it. Straight up. Who is into a farm produce? He produces cassava, sugarcane, these, mentioned that, a few this, and he's into import and export. As a matter of fact, his company is located in so area, and he does the exporting outside the country. And he has been doing this for over 12 years. Even before I graduated, there's some words you will use that when the visa officer listen, will be like, okay, even before I graduated, even before I started my secondary school, and that is what he actually used to finance me throughout my undergraduates and my masters, if you're coming for PhD. And he has also pledged to continue supporting me for my PhD. I have his bank statement here, if you will permit me to show it to you. So there are ways you can put it that way. I'm not saying you should use it the way I've said it, but just come up with something that looks convincing and looks realistic. Oh, my father is a contractor and he has been in. What type of contractor? Be more explicit. What type of contractor? For those that their company is supporting them or they are the ones supporting, why is your organization supporting you? What have you achieved? What have you gained? Or why is it that so necessary for an organization to support you? You have to think towards that. And when you are answering the question, those will be your basis, your fundamental basis. So I will give an example of those that their company is supporting. I don't know the reason why your company is supporting you, but if a company or an organization is supporting and is genuinely, I wouldn't have problem. But if it is not, if it is genuinely, then I can talk freely why the organization is supporting me. But if it is not genuinely, then that is why I have to come up with something to convince the visa officer why the organization is supporting me. Now, if you're being asked, who is supporting you? How do you intend to finance this? How do you intend to pay for this? And you just mentioned, oh, my organization who has agreed to support me. That's it. And you keep mute. Yes, we all have 3 minutes, 5 minutes as maximum. But your own case might be different. Your own case might be different. Let the visa officer cut you rather than you stop it. And at some point, there's what we call quiet moment during the visa interview, when the visa officer would have asked you a question, and you've answered it, and we just be typing, and you just be looking. That is a quiet moment, and that is the moment the visa officer is thinking: is this person convincing enough? Is this person genuine student? And he's trying to weigh his option, but you're silent. Sometimes the silent can mean, okay, approved, okay, I'll be approving your visa now, boom. Why sometimes in their head, and which is that majority, they'll start thinking, okay, as they are typing, they are putting the notes. Okay, he said his father is this. Immediately, a negative point run through the visa officer will just say, okay, sir, I'm going to deny your visa now. You can reapply. So when there's that quiet moment, what I always advise students to do at that moment is to support their documents or their saying with what they have achieved with the school. Sorry. Uh, I'm sorry. Sorry. So what you have achieved with the school. And within your mind, you'll start thinking like, oh, I've not been in the school yet. What have I been able to achieve? You have paid the enrollment deposit. You have secured your spot. You have been communicating with your admission officer. You have been communicating indirectly, even if you have not communicating with the professor in the school. Even if you have not, you can say Professor Georgiana, you can say Professor Ashonk, Professor Mickey, Jinak, this and Rita. I really wish you guys to understand where I'm driving at. No, Alan, good to see you. Alan, can you hear me? How are you doing? No problems. Good to see you. How are you doing? No problems. You can always watch the YouTube. I'm gonna post the YouTube link, so you can always go to my YouTube and just watch it. It's just where I store information like this for people who reaches out to me. So you can always. When is your visa interview? Oh, okay, cool. So just email me, then we can have one-on-one section as well. Okay. Uh, uh, all right. You're welcome. All right. So we're still on. So you haven't missed a lot. So you can still catch it up. Okay. All right. So um somebody's trying to join. Okay. So like I was trying to say before that diversion, that sponsor part, please, you need to develop yourself. Now, for those that their company is sponsoring them, what I would say is that, oh, so tell me, how do you intend to finance this? Well, as you can see from my DS160, I will be the one paying for my trip. I currently work as an operating manager, and I've been able to save about $2,000, which I've actually planned channeling towards a flight to the United States. But for the purpose of my education, you are even the one splitting it for the visa officer. But for the purpose of my education, it's actually my organization that will be supporting me. And the reason is behind the fact that every year this organization usually organize or award scholarship for the staff to travel abroad for at least 2 years, so that by the time they are back to the country, they are coming to the organization to hold a particular, or let's say a senior position role. And this has actually been helping the organization because the international exposure is something that cannot be quantified. So it has actually helped the organization. So it's like a win-win. And this is a bond, which means that I must be back by the time I'm done with my program. I will be gone for 18 months, and the company is aware. As a matter of fact, this is my leave of absence from the organization. So I was among, or I am among the four lucky staff that the organization is sponsoring abroad. They're supporting three, two, one in the UK, two in Australia, three in two in UK, one in Australia, and I'm the only one in the. Or you cannot say you're the only one. You can say okay, and one in the US. So I am the one that is planning to get, and the only thing we need is to secure an admission, which I have secured in the school, and the aside that, the other things will be carried. Both my living expenses and the tuition yearly is covered by my organization. That's it. See the way you've packaged it. So your organization matters a lot. So for those that are using organization. Now, that's the question about sponsor. So you must be able to expatiate who is sponsoring you, why the person is. So in a general view, you must be able to expatiate why the person is sponsoring you, or let me say who is sponsoring you, why the person is sponsoring you, how dedicated this person is, what is the nature of the job, how much does this person earn annually that will be able to cover for you yearly. So, and has there been any past experience, or let me say past support from this same person? So all these things, you put them into your sentence and just say it. So that's the second question that they usually focus on. The third one is usually, well, you see this third question, I usually put it on the um why are you going to the US, or what are you going to do in the US, or why the program. I usually put it there, but sometimes it can stand alone. And what is the question? What do you intend to do after your program? So, slash, how did you hear about the university? So majority of you that you're here, I don't know how you got to know about Carolina University, but I can say that some actually watch my YouTube with Fred. Some actually watch where I just did a 3 minutes post like, oh, have you guys heard about a school here in the US? Some actually got like that, and some actually got it through a referral. Maybe you have a family here, you have this, whatever case, how you get to know about the school. Free to say it. Yes, say it. It's you see, when your visa gets denied, yeah, it's disheartening, is annoying sometimes, and it's sad. But the truth is, they won't even tell you why your visa get denied. That's it. But if you're lucky, they can tell you that, oh, maybe something. But I can say 99% they won't tell you. They will tell you it's confidential. And in your head, you'll be thinking maybe the last question that I asked that you didn't answer it is the reason why you got denied. No, They will look at all the questions they've been asking you and how you've been answering it. Just one question cannot make them to deny you. Like, I mean, the last question. Sometimes, usually, the last questions. Sometimes, it's usually the questions in between. Sometimes, it's the holistic, or maybe the visa officer just feel you are not being realistic. And that is the point. In fact, that is where I'm driving at. Whatever you plan to say with the visa officer, be realistic. Be realistic. Why I said sometimes it doesn't matter is that I've seen a lot of people that go for the visa, even myself, when I went for my visa interview and I was showing my leave of absence. No, I was showing wrong documents and I was saying it at the back. Like I was saying it like this is my leave of absence. And I was showing the wrong document. But immediately I realized that the document I was showing wasn't what I'm supposed to be saying, or let me say, it doesn't tally with what I'm saying, rather. I packaged myself. After mentioning that line that says that I must be back by the time I'm done with my program or whatever, I mentioned the content of the letter I'm now showing, which is my offer of appointment, or which was my offer of appointment. So don't lose balance. Immediately you realize that you are making a mistake. Catch up, reposition yourself, redesign yourself. That's it. That's where the smartness comes in. So that third question of what do you intend to do after your program, or how did you hear about the school? That's why I said if you look at the third question, it's sometimes related to what are you going to do in the US? Because invariably you will mention how you got to hear about the school, or if you don't, it's fine. Or what do you intend to do after your program? And sometimes they usually ask this in a separate question. What do you intend to do after your program? Now, it depends on, I don't know each people's story, but it usually depends on your home tie. That question is usually dependable on your home tie. I don't know what you're using as your home tie. If you're using your organization and you're married as your home tie, fine. If you're a single person, you are not married, and you're using your work as an home tie, it's fine. If you're a self business person and you're using your business as your home tie, or like I said, you just have to strategize on how you feel you should answer that question. So, how do you intend to finance? Sorry, how do you what do you intend to do after your program? After your program, I want to ask a sincere question online right now, and I want a sincere answer. I know everybody wants to know the question. This question, what do you intend to do after your program, has something to do with you returning back. That is what the question is all about. Like I said, when the visa officer asks you a question, I don't know. I think multi seconds is something that is faster, right? Yeah, you can't say within a blink of an eye. It can take me 1 million hours before I can blink. But let's just say multi seconds. You quickly think about what direction is this visa officer going about? What direction is the visa officer going? That is what you're going to say, right? So, as in, I mean, what you'll be thinking on your head. So, when they ask you, what do you intend to do after your program? I want to say that because I received an email when somebody emailed me and says that with this program, will I be able to get a job in the US? Within me, when I saw that email, to before, I don't know who sent that email. So I was like, this person doesn't even understood what an F1 visa is all about. And which is one of the problem that sometimes when you present yourself with a visa officer, invariably or indirectly, you might have said something that you're not supposed to say, or which contradicts with the F1 status, or let me say the rules guiding an F1. So I will give you an assignment. You guys need to go and learn what F1 visa, I mean, a student visa in the US is all about. You can just learn that on your own. It's not like a project that you should work on. It's just for you to learn so that you can best understand what the F1 visa is. So, an F1 visa is a student visa in the US that practically allow you to come to the US to study. And when you're done, you are meant, except the status, or let me say, these rules guiding an F1 is going to change after this program. But as at the time we're recording this, and as it been in the past, an F1 is meant to complete their program and go back to their country. That is the F1. And I'm very sure that it's not only US, Canada as well has the same rule that, okay, you must establish that you're coming back home or you're going back to your country. So it's just something common to them. So imagine somebody asking that, oh, will I be able to get a job in the US with the program? Of course, I cannot select. I'm a career advisor. If you Stephanie, sorry, I know you're tired. You can take a water. You can- so um sometimes I know that we all want to advance in career. Let me put it that way. I don't know the major reason why majority of you wants to do that, but my own is to advance in my career, and some people are like that too. So imagine receiving that email and giving you the note that the person has something else on it, and the visa officer now asks you, "What do you intend to do after your program?" And you said, "Oh, yes, I'm going for a PhD in organizational management. In fact, I've actually been looking for there's this job I saw on LinkedIn, and I've applied. I saw it that is in actually in Chicago. And once I'm done with the program, the company is ready to accept me, this and that." And he said, "Oh, okay. So how do you intend to finance this?" He said, "Oh, my father will be the one to support me. Is this and that and that. Have you ever traveled outside the country before?" "Oh, well, I've been to UK, I've been to Australia, I've been to the Hajj, I've been to Mecca, Saudi Arabia, this and that." I said, "Oh, okay, all right. Thank you very much. This is and how did you hear about the school?" "Oh, I had the school through a friend. He's actually a student member there." And he said, "Okay, all right." I said, "Oh, thank you very much. I will not be approving your visa now." I'm pretty sure that type of person will go out there and start saying that. Immediately he asked me that, do I have, how do I got to know about the visa? About the school rather. And I said, a friend. And a colleague will start saying that, "Oh, no, you shouldn't have mentioned that. You should have said, oh, through one conference or this and that," neglecting the fact that he already mentioned that once he completes his F1 school, he's looking for a job. So invariably, you have already violated the rules guiding an F1, and they will ask you to reapply. Now, the visa officer, I'm pretty sure that the visa officer would have put that notes and capitalized it, so which will be difficult for that person to convince the next visa officer that yes, I will be back to my country. Don't forget, people usually have it at the back of their mind that, oh, I'm coming back to my country whenever I'm done. I'm coming back to the country when I'm done. I'm coming back. People usually have it at the back of their mind. But unknowingly, when they are talking without a guide, that's why you just don't talk. You don't talk. You don't feel like, yes, I can answer the question. No, calm, relax at that moment, because you never can tell what you will say and it will triggers a negativity, even if you go ahead and answer a lot of questions at that particular time. But one thing that you have said that violated an F1 status, that is it. The visa officer was just so nice to continue asking you question. That's why he didn't tell you straight up, like saying that, okay, yep, sorry, I said straight up. That's a slang. Like it didn't tell you straight that yes, you have been denied. So that's why when people come back and say, "Oh, you guys, yeah, my visa was denied, this and that," I'll just say, there are two things: one, your presentation, or two, it is not your time yet. If it is your presentation, let's work on your presentation. What are the questions that were asked? See, this is not at that point, they've denied you. You don't need to lie. Come out, write all those questions back out. What are the questions they ask? Then now genuinely ask yourself or try to pound on your mind. How did I answer those questions? What have I said? Or what didn't I say? Or something that I mentioned. With that, evaluation will help you in your next visa appointment. So in your next visa appointment, and if it is, it sometimes can you can even give them not mentioning something that violates F1, and the visa officer will just say, um I'm sorry, I'm going to deny your visa now, but you can always reapply, and this, and then maybe you can. It means that you do not convince the visa officer that yes, you are a genuine student, or you are actually going for what you intended, which fall back to your presentation, which fall back to your presentation. And like I said, it might not be your time now. Maybe you are not just lucky at that time. And you can reapply. And when you are reapplying, you have to ensure that something has changed from the last time you got denied and now. You don't need to force something to be changed. Like I said, you can still package yourself to show that yes, something has changed, because you are going to feel a new DS 160. You are going to feel if you feel a new DS 160, you are going to feel a new appointment, and maybe you applied for this fall, you can defer to spring. At least that has changed. But your position wise, has anything changed? You can package. Your company has continued to be paying your salary while you're in the US. Okay, maybe the last time you couldn't show that yes, or you are not opportune to mention that you have approved study leave, so you can actually bring that. Okay, oh yeah, and a lot of changes. Last time I got married, the organization where I work for, they have agreed to be paying my salary while I'm still studying in the US. And in fact, I couldn't get my visa, my um study leave approved, but right now I've been able to get the study leave approved. Maybe you were unable to show it then, or you had it, but you were unable to mention it, or you're unable to show it then. You can use that as position wise that has changed. So that's the I think we're in the third question. What do you intend to do after your program? So the essence of my story is to have your short term and long term goal. That's the best way to answer what do you intend to do after your program. And you have to be concise and link it back to the fact you are coming back to your own. That is an answer to um, what do you intend to do after your program. And you must know your program that you are coming for very well. Have the intended projects that you have in mind that you want to talk about or you want to work on. Use it when you are talking. Oh, and I've met Dr. Jonah, and we have been talking about the challenges child faces when improvising the instructional materials through teaching. And I'm working on methodologic um, subject methodology whereby I can design a curriculum where this and that, this. So you can actually use it at the beginning. And that is um, the point I'm always telling people. When you're going for your visa interview, Identify your strong points. It's very important. If you have been to the US before, it's a very strong point for you. Now, you, like I said, if you have a strong point, don't wait till the visa officer asks you, have you been to the US before? There is a way you can bring it out. Oh, for instance, the last time I was in the US, I was in the US on October 23, 2020. Even you just have to know the dates, October 23, 2023. And I went for an international conference where we talk about early childhood education and at the University of Georgia. And it was just a 2 weeks program, and I stayed for like 2 weeks. And immediately I got back, it added to my knowledge. What you've said there, you are not saying too much. You are letting the visa officer know that you've never overstayed your visa. And he can see it. But you have kind of built the confidence. For instance, so he might ask you, what do you intend to do after your program? Oh, well, that was actually what I initiated my um my career in a PhD in education administration, because I got to know about Carolina University through an international conference. And at the end of my program, I will be coming back home, of course, because the last time I was even in the US, and that was when I got to know about Carolina University. I went for an international conference, and it was a 2 weeks program, and I didn't spend more than 2 weeks. The visa in his head, the officer knows that, oh, this guy knows where I'm driving at. Of course, you can be in the US and overstayed. And if you have overstayed, what did you do? Like, did you try to adjust your status to ensure that yes, or you file for an extension? If you file an extension, look for a story and put it in why you file an extension. You overstayed doesn't mean that your visa will be rejected. There must be a reason why you overstayed. If it is genuinely, fine. But if it is not, that's when you sort that out. So that's the third question. What do you intend to do after your program? So you must be able to talk about your program, what you are working on, or what you intend to work on. If you are a master's student coming from master's, you did your project in undergraduate. Talk about your project. That's what you continue on. They don't have your project at heart. If you are finding it trouble to pick a topic on your head, continue with the topic, the one you left behind, and bring it out. Talk about it. Speak to it. So, and when you are back, you plan to establish maybe a daycare center, or you are going back to your organization. That's why I said it all depends on what you plan to use as an home type. If you're using an organization, maybe you're coming back to organization. If you're a self-entrepreneur or you're a self-business person, you tend to establish a particular store, or it will add value to your store. So that is the third usual questions, that if you can work with all this so far that we've mentioned, these three questions perfectly way, no question they are going to ask you that you will not be incorporating all these three questions or these three answers into whatever they are asking you. That's the bitter truth. And the fourth, there are other questions, but I'm just saying that I'm just trying to tell you the ones that will help you to have a balance when you are being asked. Imagine them asking you, what are you going to do in the US? How do you intend to finance this? What is your intended program, or how do you hear about Carolina University? So the fourth question is usually, have you ever traveled outside the country before? You see, this question, have you ever traveled outside the country before? It has so many related questions. For instance, what do you do currently? They can ask you that. What do you do currently? You see, look at that word again. What do you do currently? The visa officer is not asking you what you are doing at the moment. Instead, the visa officer is asking you why you have a study gap, but they cannot ask you why do you have that study gap. Majority of people, some people would have finished their program or their bachelor's degree since 2011, and they're just going for their masters now. Some might have finished their masters since 2013 and they're going for their PhD now. So when the visa officer asks you, what do you do currently? Or um, have you ever traveled outside the country before? It's a linkage question that is linking to what you're doing currently. And what you are even doing currently is called study gap. So majority will answer like, well, I work with um Blessing Other Nigerian Limited or Blessing Other Cooperative Limited. Um I work as their counselor. I work as their counselor. And I earn about $23,000 yearly or $40,000 yearly. You answered the question the way you see it. But there are more to that question. And you have just like a minute to answer that question. When they ask you, what do you do currently? In fact, if I were you, I wouldn't even allow the visa officer to ask me what I do currently. I would have said it from my first question, which is, what am I going to do in the US? You might be wondering, how will I put what I'm doing currently with um what am I doing currently with what am I going to do in the US? I would say, like, I will put it this way. I'm still gonna see how best I can answer all those four questions. But I won't even wait till they get to this. But something can happen. Maybe I didn't answer, or there was no environment to mention that, right? So it's not a problem. So the only thing you can do at that point is talk about your study gap. So what do you do currently? Well, I currently work with Blessing Other Communication. I finished my I finished my bachelor's degree in 2013, and since 2013 to 2018 I've actually been working with Blessing Other Communication Limited. I work as their operation manager. In fact, this is my employment letter, and I've actually learned a lot of skills, these and that is very vital, and that is why the company has even released me to further my career in PhD in organizational management, so that by the time I'm back to the country, I'm holding a position of operational manager, and which will actually help me when it comes. So this is like a bond with the organization, which shows that I must be back by the time I'm done with my program. So what they're actually referring there is your study gap. You won't wait for them to ask you, so what have you been doing since all this way? Why are you just going for your masters? They won't ask you this question. There are some questions that some people will chat me up on WhatsApp, and what if they ask me this question? How will I say? I will just, within myself, I just be like, it's normal for you to think that way. They're gonna ask you that question, but there are more questions. There's one question that you will answer in 10, like 10 responses, 10 answers. So you are just picking 10 from the main question. So when the people reach out to me and ask me that question, what I do is that I will help them to reframe the question. I will just tell them, what if they ask you this way instead of what you are having in the mind? And we're saying that they can't ask you the question you're asking me. I'm not a visa officer. As a matter of fact, majority of the people know when it comes to matter of this stage, I'm always extraordinary careful, because whatever you say, people will take it up and say, oh, you said this, you said I should do it this way. So that's why I said I'm not an immigration expert. I'm just using my own advice, like my own personal experience. So you are responsible to the way you heard it and how you want to use it. And that's why I'm saying don't cram. You can incorporate one or two things. So those are the questions that I feel, yes, to the best of my knowledge. So other questions can come in as um I don't even have any other question, because once I'm able to solve all these four questions, I think I'm pretty good to go. Once I'm able to solve these four questions, I'm pretty good to go. How did I hear about Carolina University? Is in the first, is in up to 1 to 4 question. Who is financing this? Is in one. How do you intend to pay for this? Is in the question. Why are you going to the United States? Is in the question. Why Carolina University? Is in the question. How did you hear about the school? Is in the question. My long time and short term goal is in the question. So I don't know. Except we all have. So I will give every one of us just 5 minutes now. Can you come up with a question you feel is not among all in this group of 4 questions that we've mentioned? Anyone? Anyone, please. Anyone? So that means I won you guys' heart. There was nobody that could ask a question. Are you serious? Wow, I think I should go have I should go have oh come on. I thought I'm gonna win. Nah. I was just saying maybe I should go and start my own podcast or something. Okay, so tell me your name and your program and your question. No, no. We're not asking questions. Maybe you couldn't get a visa interview because I'm seeing some charts, but that's not why we're here today. So we are looking for questions that can be beneficial because we are all learning together. So I'm here also want to learn from you guys now. So what other questions? So I want you guys to get my question very well. What other question do you think we can add to this 4 classic group of questions that we haven't mentioned about? So that's the question. Is that why you unmute yourself, sir? One of the reasons. Okay. Okay. MSc leadership. We do not have MSc leadership. It's called Masters of Heart in Leadership. MA. Yep. Masters of Art. So please, you see? All right, go ahead. Okay. 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 So if I get your question correctly, if I get your question correctly, you are saying that for someone that has been to 2 to 3 different countries and meeting the visa officer, and the visa officer is now what are the, or let me say, what is the likely question the visa officer can ask in direct to that scenario? Is that, if I get you correctly? I believe it's still part of those 4 questions. Under the parts, have you ever traveled outside the country before? So I still won. I still won. Nobody's okay, 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 okay. I like the way you put it, your own situation. Good. Okay. So I'm pretty aware of your case, and it's something I've actually been thinking about, and I still haven't gotten the direction you should go because if I'm a visa officer, I will be like, you finish, I'm being real, I'm being plain now. You finish from a program, or let me say you are in a program, you haven't completed it. You are moving to a program And so we you might be lucky, the visa officer might not think it that way. I'm not saying, but it's it's the first thing you need to evaluate yourself is the negative part. We have the strong one, we have the medium one. So the strong one is, oh, what if the visa officer is thinking like, oh, I didn't finish this program, or he probably asks, oh, have you completed your program where you're, what if he asks, what if he's trying to know, okay, so what did you graduate with in your current, he might not even want to know, because this is it, they don't ask a leading question that way. They might want to ask you that, so have you graduated from your current program? And boom, that's when you just be like, oh, well, I'm actually, there's nothing, well, there's nothing actually. Is a yes or no? Is you trying to expatiate it? So I'm just trying to be objective here. You understand me? So you really need to, when are you expected to complete your current program? So let me ask you that. June. And next year, June. And when do you intend to resume for this section? And okay, August. August. So next year, June. So your case is kind. Okay, okay, good. So you are the only one that can provide. It's a puzzle that you throw on brand. So you are the one that could provide answer. So for those that doesn't know the meaning of hybrid, if your course is hybrid, what does that mean? I do know hybrid, but let's hear from you. I can hear you. You said your course is hybrid. Okay. Okay. So in my head, I'm helping you to put those things together. I'm helping you to put those things together. Um. Well, the only first thing I would say is you have to be prayerful. The visa officer doesn't think in the direction you and I are thinking. That's cinema. But what are the chances? We don't know. The chances is slim for the person not to ask, because of course it's gonna ask you. So, um, what are you doing currently? You understand me? So the basic way I can say you can put this is by saying that additional degree and putting it under the hybrid. I'm going for an additional degree, and this is essential because of my current position at my place of work. I'm aspiring for the position of head of the department in my school, and I need this leadership training. I need this leadership program. So the way they ask questions. So this is general for those that they are coming for PhD leadership or MA leadership. This course is designed for an aspiring leaders in their field. So please, whenever you are answering the visa officer, ensure that you are not currently holding a leadership position. Hence, the reason you have decided to go for your leadership position, so that whatever knowledge you're learning from there and the position you are planning to aspire to, you can incorporate it into it. Because what the visa officer will ask you will be, since you're already the manager of TED show or Ted Daniel show, so why do you still want to go for the leadership position? And you start, I know at that point your English will finish. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure at that point, because you will be surprised. Like, well, I have. Then you now start speaking English. Try reframing what you've said before. But if you say that you are a junior person and you are actually there's a position coming up, and part of the requirement for that position is for you to have a leadership degree, and that's why you have decided to have that leadership position. So to aspire for that leadership position. So in your own case, I think that will work for you. I believe so. Have I answered that question? So what you've asked, right, is still under Have you ever traveled outside the country before? So I still win, right? I won. Who else wanna beat me with question? Again, another question. You agree? Good. I won. Yep. So who else has? So with the position, the situation we are right now is, if you have questions, you think the visa officer can ask you that is not among those four questions, four group of questions that we've put in. This is the time for you to mention them so that we both can learn. Yes, your name and not where you're calling from, but your name and your program. Okay. Oh, the beat. Okay. Mm. Yeah. Yep. Pet. Yep. I like that. And do you know that? Thank you, Michael, for that question. Do you know that that's actually a question that not like I haven't ever thought about, but I've seen cases. Not yours is not the first time. So I've seen cases, but it's never occurred to me because it's a rare case. So I only get to know those ones by maybe one on one when I ask them to tell me more about themselves. So in that point, that's when you usually come up. But I'm glad that um you made mention it. So yeah, I will still win. Let me put it that way. So, but no, no problems. I will just made mention few about it, like we just generalize it. You see, the petition. Majority people do not know where that angle is on their DS 116. Now I'll show you guys. It is a particular stage or place on that DS 160 that will ask you, have anyone ever filed a petition for you or against you? I don't I can't pretty sure the word, the exact word, but there's a particular page there. And because we don't have family member in the US, or we want to claim that we do not have any family member in the US, and we'll just quickly click no, 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 no. I'm pretty sure that majority people do not know what that actually means. So that actually means if you have a family member who is actually filing for you and you're coming in as an F1, that's what that area is. And once you click yes, they will ask you to mention the stage that you've gotten to. So last year I had students that actually was in that shoe. In fact, she's waiting for a visa interview. She's waiting for a interview, a petition interview, which is a visa interview. And the visa officer asks all the question, bro. We all silent about it, meaning that we put it that there's actually filing for her and this and that. And the visa officer was okay and said, okay. And the visa officer asked question. You see, it was something that, well, like I said, if it is your time, it will be your time. The visa officer asked the question, how do you intend to pick up your visa? Because I think she had the visa interview in Abuja and is staying in Lagos. So the visa officer just said, so how do you intend to pick your visa? And I said, oh, yes, I'm just going to stay in my, oh, okay. All right. All right. So remember that you can only be in the US 30 days. It's a positive sign that your visa is approved, right? And the visa officer returned the I-20. And the next question, when the visa officer was like, hold on a minute. Did you just say your father is filing for you and you've gotten to a visa appointment stage? I said, and that was when she lost. That's when the English finished. And I would be like that too because I'm done. And just said, yes, yes, yes. If yes, she was just saying yes, yes, according to what she told me. Yeah, yes, like yeah. My father is in the U.S. and yes, in fact, I'm waiting for my interview. He said, oh no, you do not qualify to have an F1, and just return the visa. She said, just wait for your and the visa officer gallantly told her, just wait for your visa appointment day for your immigrant visa. That was what the visa officer said, and just annoying. And she was just like, oh, that is it. So you can see. And when she came out and she called me and he was like, it has happened. I said, what? I said this and this and this and that was it. So based on what you just said now, there's something that you cannot hide or lie. Something like that petition. My experience, you can hide it. It's just like you want to claim that, oh, maybe you heard someone that said you shouldn't claim that you have a family in the US. And majority of people used to get confused about those things. Oh, if you actually mention that you have a family in the US, they're going to deny you. Or if you don't have family in the US, that is better. Well, at this point, I myself do not even know which one to believe. No, it's true. Because when people reach out to me, I will just be like, okay, let's assume your dad or your mother or your mom is in the US. And there's this a particular place that is gonna ask you, is your mother in the US? Do you want to lie that your mama is not in the US? You can, there's some things you can all immediately that thing happen. The next thing that will be thrown into your head is that, how will I defend that part? That is the next thing you start thinking. For every action you put on your IDS 160 and you feel it might count against you, the next thing is you start putting yourself. Of course, my probably family members are here in the US. In fact, I put up most like 8 or 9. It was so long. And the visa officer didn't even make mention of such. When my brother was coming here as well, put it there that yes, his brother is here. And yes, God approved. So don't get it confused if you have a family member here and they are saying that they are not going to approve you or something. So it is no, please don't put it at the back of your mind like that. Try to solve the puzzle. So based on that petition question, so I will add it to my list of my 4 questions. So what are we advised to say? I don't know the stage, Michael. I don't know the stage you've gotten to. If they've just initiated it, you can put it there that still in initial stage. Hopefully, the visa officer couldn't see that. But if he or she does, the best way to answer that is to mention the stage and the reason why you have decided to go for your academics at that moment. If it is organization wise, if it is a career wise, if it is a position you are aiming at, even if you are not aiming at, my brother had it. Position you are aiming at, that the qualification is for you to have a PhD, or the qualification is for you to have at least graduate studies. So for those that are not going for a PhD, use graduate studies as your English for your masters to replace your masters. So the qualification is for you to have. So from that point, you would have defined or defined why you are going to the US from your very first question and how important you going to the US it is at your very first question. So that will serve as a basis for you even when the visa officer is asking you about your petition. So I think I've been able to answer this question about petition. So you can hide it. The summary is you can hide it. You have to made mention about it. Please, only that case is very sensitive. So you won't even, I said it's that you should talk, but I'm not saying you should lose guard. So that's the point. So you must stay in a very guided talk. So if you can establish the reason why you're going to the US, how important, like I said, how important it is for you to go to the US to have your program. Maybe you channel it to your career, maybe you channel it to the organization, the position you are aiming at. It will serve as a, so let's now assume that the visa officer now asks, oh, I can see that they've started a petition for, oh, that's actually my sibling, a family sibling. You can even tell the visa officer the time frame of that petition. Well, that's just the way you are going to even say it. This is more or less like when you beg for something, you're actually begging, right? But you make it look like I don't care. Yeah, that's the way you're going to put your words. I'm not saying you say I don't care. No, I'm not saying you should put your words. I'm saying the way you're going to express yourself. That's what I mean, if you get it. So, so if the petition is on, you just be like, oh wow, that's actually it's at the initial stage, and that's a sponsor which takes about this and that. That's not even the point why I'm even going to the US. The main point is for my academics and the position I'm aiming at my organization, because immigrant visa neglects non-immigrant visa. So I think I've been able to answer that question. But yeah, I think I still won, because if you look at that question, petition should be under my number one, which is why are you going to the US? How important is this for you to go to the US? I'm just trying to look for English to cover that nobody wins today. But the fact is, yes, is actually a standalone question. Any other question? Any other question you feel if you're being asked or we have not mentioned it, we can add it now. We have five now. Yes, your name and your program, and if you've received your I-20. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't get, is actually not clear. So you said you are applying for, or you applied for Masters in Healthcare Administration, and you've gotten your I-20. Okay, so what's now the question you feel that if you're being asked? Okay, yeah, I'm with you. First degree in where? I didn't get that. Physician. Okay, physician assistant. Okay, physician assistant. Okay, okay, okay. Well, changing career is normal here in the US. That's number one. It's normal here in the US. And I'm pretty sure that if you do not have a science background or health background, you won't get the admission. Talk less to the fact that you've even gotten an I-20. So what that means is that you've passed through those stages. From your own end, what you need to do is to look for the like terms. I mean, the like terms between, or what is connecting healthcare administration and being a physician. On my own layman, I would say that both are under health, right? I would say that both are under health. But let me put this question to you. Do you even know what healthcare administration is? Um, I think the person that asked the question is Marianne Dako, right? She's asking a change in career. If the visa officer is asking or will be asking that since you have your first degree in physician assistant and now you're applying for MS healthcare administration. So what if the visa officer asks you that why are you changing your career? Um, is she still there? Um, oh, okay. So do you even know the the meaning, or let me say what healthcare administration is? So yeah, so tell us. Okay. You've answered that in a brilliant way. I mean, what's the health, the what's MS, or let me say what's healthcare administration all about? As I'm trying to help you to have a guide direction. As a physician, right? Who does your schedule? By a medical doctor, okay? And who does a medical doctor respond to? Is it not the administration? Did you get where I'm driving at? Why won't you, or why don't you, if you're being asked, or before you are even being asked, let's go to the website. It says the overview is that the MS in Healthcare Administration program is designed to provide an understanding of the modern health industry. Graduates of this program gain the knowledge, skills, and ability to assume administrative roles in various health organizations, interact with diverse specialists, and evaluate and resolve administrative problems. I don't even want to go to curriculum. I don't even want to go to the objectives. But yours is very, very straightforward. If I were you, what I'm going to say is you are still in the same line. You don't even need to say when you know you are not confident. The way you say it is just my first degree is just in physician. There is no that zeal or be proud that yes, you are actually a physician, right? You actually work as a physician, you actually graduated with that first degree, and you've been working in healthcare sector. So you need to demonstrate that. I'm coming. You demonstrate that. And the way you're going to put your answer is you don't need to say that you are not even diverting where I see. So in my own case, what I would say is that I'm taking the position of to go for my MS healthcare administration so that I can seek into the physician role, like and the task under the physicians. Check on them, evaluate them, um, resolve administrative problems concerning your field. Simple. Have I been able to help you negotiate that? I don't know if you heard me when I was mentioning packaging. Because if you don't tell me you don't have work experience, I'm very sure that for students, or let me say for your bachelors, you have IT, right? You went for your IT, you went for your industrial training, you went for your practicum. Those are your experience. Don't tell me you don't have experience. Those are your and when you finish what year? You finish your school what year? Your bachelor what year? 2022, and this is 2024. So you want to tell me, you want to convince me, I'm putting this to you. When I ask you, what have you been doing currently? And you now tell me that, well, I don't have a job that I'm doing currently. You said you nod your head. There are some type of no that you mentioned. There are one that you say, no. That's the answer. That's the way. There's some no that you say no. And there's some you nod your head and still say no. It means that it's a capital letter no. So you won't want to say that. So you need to go back to your drawing board. Go and reshape your CV, your statement of purpose, why you wanted to go for your MS Healthcare Administration. You had an IT. You have been working in that IT up to the today. That's all I will say. You've been working in there, and this is what you have been doing. And because you work as a physician, you felt that some practice had not been done properly. And that is the gap you intend to fill. The administration in resolving administrative problem. When as a physician, if I raise any problem from the to the management, their turnout time is always low. So and that is where your interest comes in, that if you actually take this up, you will make a changes by the time you come back to the organization. Bingo. It's always my pleasure. Okay. Okay, let's hear your question. I haven't gotten to that yet because I'm taking it in a step by step. But okay, yeah, go ahead. Quickly ask. Yes. Charles, I'll call you now. I'm coming. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Yeah. You will go back to your appointment page and change the number, and you will now print the new one. But please, you must do all this within 48 hours because it will have to come out on the system when you go for your appointment page. When you go for your appointment. Yes. Charles, can we have your question? Yes, you're welcome. Okay. 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 Oh, please go ahead. Okay, so well, I won because it's still part of what I've said. So it's not a new information. I'm just looking for some challenging questions. But um what you have said, the first and foremost, let me say this. Thank you very much for adding that brilliant input, and which is almost the same thing that I've suggested, that you're actually not changing any field. It's just it's just you trying to um oversee all angle now. So it's one of those things that I've just discussed with her. So thank you very much for that beautiful input. Now, based on your own case, right? Um, yes, you have done a good thing for that. For instance, seriously, you have actually did well. But when you are completing your DS160, do not put that yes, you started 1 month. Yes, that's another thing I'll just point out. Start from the beginning of what's it called, where you have started from. Yes, so that you can see that yes, you have um um more point. Do you get what I'm saying? You have more point. And when you are actually defending yourself, um like I said, in as much as you want to be factual, you shouldn't go like, oh, I have to go to meet them for them to give me these and that. You understand where I'm driving at. So, e- so does that answer your question, sir? So you have actually did well. You have actually did well. You're welcome. So let me know when your visa interview is, and maybe we can work one or two things out. I'm not promising everybody because I'm just going to select one or two assistants that I can do. Right. Okay. So um yes, since we do not have any other question now, I said we are getting to the roundup, but before that, I want to I ask a question. that how many of you know, or let me say, can interpret an I-20, right? So, and I know people knows what I-20 is, but I ask the question if they can actually interpret the I-20, which will add. Hello. Yes, I'm with you, sir. Okay. Okay. So, have you submitted? Okay. So, has it been approved? What stage is it at? So, what did you say you're applying for? Okay. Yeah, I know. I am just trying to get the point very well. Okay. So, yep. Okay. But you said your cousin. Oh, self. I thought you said your cousin is doing it for you. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's on your behalf, on yourself. You are petitioning on your behalf. So yes, the answer is yes. Yes, because on your behalf, that English is how do I put it? Because if you click on yes, it will tell you to tell them the stage. Yes, if you click on it to tell them the stage. But you can interpret it as the way you're reasoning, which that's what I would do. Reason like, okay, has somebody ever petitioned on my behalf? But that is filing. Generally, that is filing. So your answer, I believe, it should be yes, because that is filing. Yes, that is filing. So generally, it should be yes. You're welcome. All the best. You're welcome. About what? Okay, the online. Yes, the online. I will. That's the last. After this, that will be the last say. Let me note that. Online. Okay. So now, before that, online, there's I asked a question that how many of you can interpret an I-20, and this will actually help you to um, um, to be able to convince the visa officer to yes, we kind of. So I'm gonna be sharing my screen right now. I block out some information, so I pick my own um, way of addressing this issue. So um, I'm gonna be sharing it right now. I think it's something we should talk about, like you should know about. You need to know how to interpret your um can you see my screen right now? Oh, okay. Um okay, sorry. It was the YouTube that was sharing. Um how about now? You guys should be seeing it now. Okay, great. Now, this is the area that I want you guys to pay attention to. I-20 is divided. I'm only going to talk about the finance area. Now, I-20 is divided into two. The first one is the estimated average cost for 12 months. And the second part is the student funding for 12 months path. So this is A and this is B. Now, the A path is what this is the amount the school is requiring from the students. Okay. Well, this is the I-20 that I just picked. Yeah. So we actually have an updated, but that is not. I just picked this. I hope that answer. Yeah. So you know what about that? Is what I just want to use this to explain to tell you, or let me say to interpret your DS1. Sorry, your I-20 for you, so that when you go for the visa interview, there's actually area where I'm going about. Yep. So, so while this part B is actually the funding that the student is having, like you possess. Someone is trying to join that you possess. I hope that is clear. So we have the part the student is the school is requesting for, and we have the part that the students demonstrated that yes, I have it. Is the part B. Now looking at the part A from this sample of, and this is applicable to um um all schools in the US with an I-20. It's always with part B. I've never seen part C, so it's always with part B. So let's say the visa officer asks, not don't before we even go to the visa officer, if we want to interpret this, the student will be providing a personal funding of $28,000. There's an international scholarship of this. There is an on-campus employment for this. But funds from other sponsor. So practically this person is a self-sponsor. And this student is having $32,740. And the school is only requesting for 31,450. The school is requesting for 31, the student demonstrated 32. So I want to put this question to you all. What if this visa officer asks you, so tell me, how do you intend to pay the deficits? I need someone to answer that question, interpreting this I-20. Because we sponsoring you is still part of the question I can ask you, that how do you intend to pay the deficits? I need someone to talk about this. If you can, or if not, we'll continue. And the question is, how do you intend to pay the deficit? No one. No one. Let me check the YouTube. No one. Wow, that's strange. Yes. Yes. Okay, thank you very that much for the submission. Um, so Micah said that yes, there's no deficits because the student is providing 32 and the school is requesting for 31. Now, if you believe that there is no deficits in this sample of an I-20, please signify that there's no deficit. This is a class. So I can see people are not their hand. So are they saying that there's deficits and there's no deficit? So where do we all belong to? Or you all are still studying it? Okay, so Ashong said there's deficit. Okay, good. We now have two faces. So there's deficit, there's no deficit. So Ashong, can you prove to us why you said there's deficit? When the student is having 32,000 and the total is the school is requesting for 31. God bless you. And that is it. That's the answer. That is the answer. That's the practical answer. There is actually deficit. So when visa officer asks you, how do you intend to pay the deficit? And you look at your eye and you say, I don't really have a deficit. The school is requesting 31,000. I'm presenting 32,000. I have more than enough. But no, so far is not taking care of your tuition. I mean, let's say the as Ashram said it, let's say your international scholarship is 5,000, your on-campus employment is the balance of the rest, then you don't have any deficits. But with this, so Michael, that is in a practical sense what you can see. That you can now see that there are questions. Let me say there are answers to inside a question. That's what I keep telling people. You should understand that question so that you can know how to answer it. So I mostly put this out because I realized that a lot of people, when they ask them that, and I don't have any deficit, they'll be emailing us. I will just be laughing where I'm replying the email. Of course, you do have a deficit. Just so this student has an international scholarship of this, an employment of this, employment, on-campus employment of this, but the school is requesting for 31,000. So the deficit is what this visa officer is asking you. How do you intend to support it? So when you are going to reply the visa officer, you will reply based on your I-20. Well, as you can see from my I-20, the living expenses, the tuition is around 13,000, is 13,000, not around, it's 13,450. But from my tuition, I have an international scholarship. You don't need to mention the percentage. Just mention the word. I have international scholarship and an on-campus employment. Adding the two together from my tuition fees, the deficit will be paid by myself in order together with my living expenses as well as the dependent expenses. I will be catering for this. I hope you guys understand. I'm not confusing you guys right now. If I'm confusing, you can come out and talk, please. Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir. Hello?
Okay, good. So I'm just trying to help you to how do I call it? I'm trying to help you to understand what this I-20 is all about, and it will help you to defend yourself when you are with the visa officer. So let's assume that this person does not have living expenses. Sorry, dependent expenses. You are just coming alone. So the way you are going to put it is, let's say the visa officer asks you, how do you intend to finance this? Well, as you can see from that, and the bitter, not even the bitter, the truth about Carolina University is that you see these living expenses, you are not to pay the living expenses to the school, including these expenses of your dependents. This is just a figure for the it's just a figure for the USCIS to see that yes, you have that amount in your bank account. Some schools actually will allow you to pay that to their school. But for Carolina University, since you cannot stay on campus, you do not, or you are not required to pay this, and you will not pay this to the school. As at the date we are having this meeting, graduate students are not allowed to stay on campus. You will look for your accommodation outside, but the USIS requires for us to see this. So, in a practical sense, the only figure you are required to pay to the school is the tuition fee, which you can mention the visa officer in a well presentable manner. Well, as you can see from my I-20, the only fee required from the school is tuition, or you generalize it so that you don't lose balance. So, well, as you can see from my I-20, the tuition fee is 13,450. Both campus employment and my international scholarship are charged towards my tuition fee. I have an international scholarship as well as the on-campus employment. Don't just say employment, on-campus employment, which is also known as graduate assistantship. If I had the figure together minus the tuition, which is 13,450, the deficit will be paid by my father, by my uncle, by my sister, by myself. And what are they into? Whoever is sponsoring you, if you're a self person, who is sponsoring yourself? What do you do? How did you acquire that funds? Was it family gifts? Was it savings? How were you able to acquire that? You should establish that to the visa officer before the visa officer will ask you. So, and does your uncle does? So immediately you mentioned that your on-campus employment and your international scholarship will be when you had it together from the tuition deficit will be paid with your from your sister or from your auntie. Please, I need that person to mute. I'm being distracted. 13,415 minus the tuition, on-campus employment, personal funds. All right, sorry about that. I had to mute the person. Okay, so as I was saying, um, so once you had the on-campus employment and my international scholarship, in fact, you can say I have an international scholarship award and I have an on-campus employment will be charged from my tuition from 13,450, and the rest will be paid by my father, including my living expenses. The fact that you are not paying this to the school doesn't mean not mention it, including my living expenses will be covered by my dad, by whoever is sponsoring you. If it is self, you put the self there. So, have I been able to open your eyes to this particular exit, please? All right, welcome. Okay, so that's the reason I haven't answered that question. How do you intend to finance this? So you need to understand your I-20 very well before you are able to answer that question. So of course there is deficit. Ebenezer, I'm coming, please. Of course there is deficit, and there is a way to go around it. Um, yes. So now let's go to Ebenezer. You can write your question down because I want to round up this program in some minutes now. So I need to touch one more exit, which is the online. For the purpose of those that they have started their program online, like I said, it helps a lot. If you start your program online while you join us physical in your start term, let's say those that they are planning to come in spring, you can start your program online. Of course, you will pay your online cost of attendance. So and the beauty part is that for online they have payment plan. You can pay as low as $500 and you start your online program, and you must be able to do well. And this online is not like you're going to be in class the way I'm talking like this. um you is practically online. All you need to do is you watch the video of your professor, you summarize what the professor says, you submit your weekly assignments, and that is it. And you comment on your discussion forum. So and you can always do that weekly. So just because you will need the results, your performance, you will need it when you are going for your visa interviews, because you will need to print that part and you will add it to your supporting document, which is the folder too. And that is your strong point. So you should be able to quickly mention that in a very logical flow. So for those that have started their program online and the visa officer asks you, so tell me, why are you going to the US? I stand to be corrected, and I'm not an immigration lawyer, so I I'm just putting my experience. I said this because I'm not saying, well, that will work. I'm just saying that you can fine tune it. Yeah. So if I'm in your shoe, I will put it this way by saying that, well, thank you very much for this wonderful question. Well, the truth is, to be honest, you can put those two words. To be honest, sir, I've actually started this program online. In fact, this is my um, transcripts. And I started this program online because I was unable to get a visa interview date as at spring, as at summer. So I was unable to get a visa interview date as at summer. In order to secure my spot and to show that, and because of the interest that I have with the program, I have decided to start the program online, and I'm going to the United States for my master's in education. And it is essential for me because of the nature of my job. I currently work as an admission officer for um, Joanna University, and I've been doing that for 4 good to 5 years. So I started the program. You keep emphasizing I started the program so that I can be able to catch up with the students by the time I join them physically in fall, and the school resumes on the, you can see it on your I-20, but just say it. And the school physically resumption for the school for the fall semester is August 26th. I started the program for the summer. You know, you are saying this, the visual officer that, I've heard you started the program online. You might not want to say it that way, but we'll always let you know that. So it's a strong point for you, and you should be able, like I said, you need to defend that part very well. Some people would think, oh, when I start the program online, is an automatic visa approval. No, you still have to go to the visa officer, you still have to demonstrate why you started online and what you tend to achieve as you started online, and your goal is when you join them in person. In fact, you can go ahead, like, you're able to take the courses you can take online, because um go to the website, look at the curriculum, look at the courses, you know that yes, these courses are courses that must be done physical because it requires lab. Mention it, because encyclopedia of knowledge, water bottle, Zoom require require in-person classes, and because of the laboratory, we'll be integrating the chemical of the organization of the projection in the basic. When we mix it together, is it, like, they just have to establish the reason why it is essential for you to be in person. So I actually took the online courses, the classes that can be taken online, Encyclopedia of Knowledge, what I'm about to ask, and cosmetology and optimum of knowledge are these courses that require the lab, because I'm currently working on the water evaporation of the integration. This will actually enables you can see what you're doing there is you're trying to establish why you pick the program online, the courses you are able to do online. You are trying to convince the visa officer that yes, you are able to start physical class. So presentation matters a lot in anything, in any, even if you have not started online, if you are not starting online, it matters a lot. People believe, oh yes, I started online, I started the program online, and you just keep quiet. Why did you start online? What motivates you to start online? As a matter of fact, this is my transcript, my summer transcript. So I plan to join in when once I join them in person. Um, in fall, I'll be doing cosmetology of knowledge, which require the synthesis in the lab, and I will be working 8 hours shifts, 8 hours in the lab with Professor Nolan, who has agreed to supervise my projects. I'm working on the evaporated of. Just make sure you pick a topic that this is a general thing for everyone. If you want to talk more about your course, or if you want to talk more about the program you're going, and you should have an research interest. If you're coming for a thesis, for a master's rather, or a PhD, you should already have a research interest. If you once you have a research interest, the area you want to talk about, make sure it is interesting. Make sure it's of a national interest. Make sure it has global impact. That is interesting. Those just talk about the. Let me look at. Um, let's say, uh, for instance, I can only speak about education. There are some challenging areas in education. We have early childhood education. We have funding in education. We have government policies in education, stability of government policies in education. We have so many issues in education that you can come up with topic. We have instructional materials in education. Are teachers using instructional materials? Comparison. You can compare education of a country with other country. So come up with a topic, but make sure you know what you are saying. Don't just be talking about. Make sure you fine tune, and the way you are saying it is more interesting. I wish you guys all the best. So I think I've been able to answer the online. Um, Now it's time for general questions. You can come off mute, ask your questions. We only have 5 minutes, and we call it a day. I've been able to do justice from last week that I was unable to catch up with you guys, and I hope that I've been able to do a lot of things. Um, Try to practice those five, or 4 to 5, four if it is the fifth one joins you. Try to work on this. Look at the mirror, build the confidence, talk to yourself, record yourself, play it, and make a submission again. And you can always improve going forward. So work on those topic, work on those questions rather, those area in questions. What are you going to do in the US? Why are you going to the US? And when you are talking, please try to be symmetrical with your talk, with your saying, with your expression, with your responses. I will leave this with let me see the best way I can answer all these questions. So if I'm being asked, so what are you going to do in the US? So I want to pick a program. I will pick MBA, for instance. So let's say, what are you going to do in the US? Well, I will be going to the US for my master's in business administration, where I will be specializing on in business analytics. This is essential for my career because of the nature of the job. I currently work with Joanna Communication, where I currently work as their sales representative. Going for this program will actually be beneficial. As a matter of fact, I have been given a leave of absence which it serves as a bond between myself and the organization that I must be back by the time I'm done with the program. So, how do you intend to finance this? As you can see on my DS-160, I will be the one to be paying for my flights because I currently work and I know this is uh, expensive. So I have actually been able to save about 2,000 for the flight. But for the expenses, as you can see, I have on my I-20, I have student employment and I have um, presidential scholarship. And the school is only requiring me to pay about 13,450 minus this presidential scholarship and as well as my student's employment. I'll be paying yearly. So you have done the calculation. So amount. So coupled with the fact that I have living expenses, if you have dependent, you mentioned it, I have dependent. The whole will be sponsored by my father. My father is a farmer, is into farm produce, and he works as he exports products out of the country. In fact, his company is Nalam Farm Nigerian Limited. It's located in Lagos and is well established. It's well popular. At that point, they don't know you. They don't know your father. Trust me. It's well popular and he made about this. I have his bank statement here. If you permit me, I can show you to see how the company runs and how much they have been actually making. And the third question is usually, have you ever traveled outside the country before? So for those that have not traveled outside the country, it's very easy. Well, you might have, even if you have not traveled within your state, mention it. Well, I have not been opportune to travel outside the country. And this is because of the nature of my job. Like I said, I'm a sales rep and I've been able to travel around the city. I've been to 7 different states in Nigeria or in any country that you are. I've been this because of my job. My position does not allow me to just leave because there is no opportunity. But now that the opportunity has surfaced, I am eager and ready to take the opportunity. And as a matter of fact, there's always going to be a first time. And I believe that this will actually work perfectly well because by the time I'm back to the country, I'm expected to hold a position of a senior managerial role. And this will help me to increase both my standard of living and my career wise. So, how do you hear about the university? Well, if you haven't traveled outside the country, you can say this, but if you have traveled out, you can say where you traveled to. You are going to attend a conference. And that conference, the presenter that presented happens to be one of the professor in the university, and you guys got talking and you pick up the interest. And you see, when they ask you why the university, there are 3 areas you need to focus on when you are talking about it. The first one is the environment. The environment is enabling. I don't know how you want to put your sentence. The environment, talking about the environment, when I Google it, I watch the websites, the school on the websites, and couple with my colleagues in the school that they're, my former school that they're there, the environment is peaceful, is enabling for learning activities. Two, curriculum. The curriculum suits my interest. The curriculum suits my interest. I actually applied to 2 different universities and I decided to go for Carolina University because of one, their environment. The environment is peaceful. The environment is enable for it has an enabling environment, which means it's conducive. You'll be explaining it's conducive for learning. And third, the second part is curriculum. The curriculum suits my desire, my interest because I got to know about Carolina University through an international conference that was organized by Unicraft, and the presenter, one of the presenter that presented the case, presented. You can frame a topic. We got talking, and the professor has even agreed. Professor this has even agreed to sponsor and to support um, has also agreed um, to review my project, to work with my project, where I'll be working on challenges of improvised instructional materials as perceived by teachers generally. Here I'll be talking about these. You demonstrate that you know how. That's it. This and this and this. And lastly is the tuition. The tuition is 13,450, which is affordable. Say it. You won't want to become a liability when you go to a no man's land. You say it. So, which is affordable, 13,450 is the tuition, which is actually within the range that I've actually budgeted. Yes, and coupled with the fact that my organization or my uncle or my brother or whoever is going to sponsor you mention actually fall within the range of the sponsor, which will be okay to provide that yearly for me while I'm in the United States. And the fact is, the organization or the company where I'm currently working will be paying my salary while I'm still in the United States. Boom. So I hope I've been able to help you guys to frame that. I wish you guys all the best. Um, I don't know. Let me give 10 minutes for questions. So I'll pick Michael Lamptey first. Michael, you can unmute. Michael Lamptey. Okay. Wisdom, you can go ahead. Yes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't already know. I'm just joking. I know. I know. Okay. Yeah. I might not know most of all the applicants, but I'm familiar with some. Yep. Go ahead. Did you book separate? It shouldn't be separate. It should have tally right from the start. Or maybe I'm not the one getting your question. Are you trying to, if I get your question correctly, you're saying that the DS-160 confirmation number then tally with your dependent's own, right? Page. Yes. The DS-160 number, with the not tally with the dependent's own. So it's easy. Just go to your CGI portal, login immediately after your profile. You immediately after the profile, you click on edit, and you can always edit that. You will go to the appointment confirmation page. Once you get to your appointment confirmation page, you click on the profile. Once you click on the profile, you click on the next because your profile will come first. So you click on the next to your dependent profile, and you click on the one that look like the pencil. You click on it. That's the edit. It's going to bring the profile of your dependent, and you'll edit it. That's alternative A. B is call the embassy and tell them you want to update your DS-160 number for your dependent. They will do that for you. Yes, sir. And you now reprint those documents, the new appointment confirmation page. So when you are checking your documents, ensure the tallies again before you take it to the embassy. And if you're going with the dependent, for the purpose of those that are going with their dependents, there's a question I'm always saying: establish the reason why your dependent is following you. There is no um person that says your dependent cannot follow you. Of course they can, but you know the reason why they are following you. I can answer that for you. So you should be able to know why they're following you, and how you intend to cater for them, because the dependents here in the United States cannot work. So those are the things you need to put at the back of your mind, and the visa officer knows that. So it's a very, very important thing to know about. So there are other things you can say to convince the visa officer. So I leave that to you. So, any other question? Michael Lamptey. Okay, yes. I called you initially, so I had to jump you. We can hear you. Let me speak my British tone. We can't hear you. Yes, so we can hear you now. Yes, please go ahead. Okay. If I get you correctly, you're saying, is it possible for you to start your program online, then you join us in person in spring? Did I get the question correct? Yeah, it's possible. All you need to do, you know what to do. You just send us an email. Just send us an email. Whatever you want to do, just send us an email. Yep. Oh, okay. Let me do that real quick. Um, share. I don't know. Okay, this is share. Uh, I copy that and chat. So I'm dropping the YouTube there. Yes, I've done that, Michael. So what I'm gonna tell you is, if you want to make a one-on-one, um, I can send you my appointment page and just schedule that. With that, you can be able to get my one-on-one like this, and we will talk. Gone off. Can can please, someone should confirm that. Who else can see this? Can see the link? Who else can see the link on the chat? It's on. Yeah. So Michael, you should check very well. I'm sending again. Okay. All right. Wisdom, you have a question? Wisdom, you raise your hand. You have a question. Okay. So, who else have one or two questions before we call it a day? Uh, it's already on the YouTube. Once you click on this, just go to my profile. Joanna, Joanna, are you there? Okay. When is your visa interview? August 5th. How ready are you? You need a little bit of practice. Okay. So, you said August 5th, right? Okay. Just send me an email and we can work things out. Who else is having visa interview next week? Anyone having their visa interview next week? It's from 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. All right. At the absence of no, okay. Is somebody racing? Okay, yeah, sure. Whenever you have your dates, I'm not promising everyone, but I will try my possible best. So I'm just gonna give my slots to four people, one-on-one four people. I'm just gonna give my attention to one-on-one four people, and it's gonna be a Saturdays, which won't be available on a normal day. So you have to send me an email. Once you pick if you already have your date. So I'm just gonna give up for Akim is a promise. Uh, Somebody said Akim is a promise. I don't understand what you mean that Akim is a promise. Albert Ameno something. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name very well. You said Akim is a promise. Please come out. Don't be scared. I can't be. I, I Albert is not talking. What do you mean by Akim is a promise? I didn't make any promise. I said I am not promising. That's what I said. Can you please share the link for last week? It's already on my profile. We need this section every Saturday. There are some questions that you will not answer. You just look as if you didn't say it. You just look at it as if you didn't say it. I can't. I can. I am not. Let me say. I wish I can have this day, but I will have to move off the school and maybe on my social media, maybe I can do that. And I'm a shy person. I don't. You can see that I've been a shy person. I don't know how to talk, so I don't know, and I don't have followers, so I can't do this every Saturday. So oh, okay. Of course. Yeah, you're my followers. So I can't do this every Saturday. Or maybe now I can do it every Saturday. We can give it a try if it will work, if we do it. Yeah. Yeah. It's free. I'm not charging anyone. Yep. So yep. So Mr. Every Saturday. Not now. Not now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not now. Maybe if I have followers and yes, maybe I'll come back. But by then everyone all of my followers should be in the US. That's what I'm after. I want you guys to be here so that yes we can all go out together, hang around, show you around Winston Salem. Somebody asked this question, why Winston Salem? It's still white university, white Carolina University, why US? So that's the answer there. So we can always go around, geez, and assist one another. And when you also are here, don't forget that you lean on some people to get to the US. So when people lean on you to get here, don't hesitate to provide. You cannot satisfy everybody. That's one thing. So what you can do, just try your best. So every Saturday, I'm sorry, I keep saying that message every Saturday. Woo! No. Um, Please, Samuel. This, please, I can please. Is Samuel? Do I need to get the form I-20 before I can make payment to book for the visa appointment date? Do I do I need to get the form I-20? Of course, you will need your service number to put in your appointment. Can you please share that? Okay, somebody already done that. What if you own or co-funded the business sponsoring you? Do you say personal or employer? It depends on what is on your I-20. If your I-20 says sponsor, then you can say whatever. And you actually completed an affidavit. So, what did you put in that relationship? Or what did your sponsor put under the relationship? So that should answer that question. I think too much details regarding the package. I think too much details regarding the packaging. I don't know, Michael, what you mean by that. The administrator is the boss of the faculty, of course. I also have an identity. Okay, Tab Daniel, I've answered that. Hello, Akeem. Please, can you emphasize on how you can correct the issue of your DS? Yes, I've answered that. Why Winston? It's the same thing as why Carolina University. Instead of, I haven't seen anyone being asked why the city. Rather, I stand to be corrected. Rather, I've seen why the school, while the US, or they can say why the states, why North Carolina. So you are the one that is going to establish that the school is located in the city of Winston-Salem in North Carolina. And Winston is peaceful, it's beautiful, it has the clinical disease. You just have to Google much about Winston, but don't emphasize that much and forget your strengths. So instead, I will only link that to the reason why I actually wanted the school. So it falls back to why did you pick the school? So in my head, I'm answering why I picked the school, the environment, the curriculum, and the affordability. Now that they now said that you're saying, okay, why that city? And the cost of living also is relatively. So all this is within my budget that I won't have any problem in studying in abroad. So you can see that you are becoming realistic, and that is what the visa officer is always about. They know the economy situation. It will be written on his head that, oh, this person doesn't want to go beyond the air, doesn't want to go beyond his pocket. So it has everything being planned for. So not like saying, oh, my father my father hand $28,000 and this is people say, oh, I still mention a lot about my sponsor, but are you being realistic? Are you being realistic about who is sponsoring you or how you intend to finance yourself? So the realistic part is very important. Please, I have issue with scheduling an interview with the embassy. The portal isn't showing any dates that I can pick a date till now. Please, anyone with the same experience. So, I don't know how to go about this, but what I know is there are two portal when you are scheduling an appointment. If you have previously been denied, and the regular one. So I will, mm, and you have communicated with the. So I think you should click on the second option, the regular option. You should click on the regular option. My microphone is muted. Oh, can you all hear me? Okay. Oh, that was a sudden. I've forgotten. I'm only Yeah, I'm checking the message and I saw that my microphone is muted. I was like, I've said a lot of things. Then I'll just say, okay, all the best if you did not hear me. Okay, so I've been able to answer all the questions. Let me check. You somebody asked a question on YouTube. It says, you're currently my admission officer. So for I-20, if you haven't received your I-20, the school is working on it. Send us an email. Anything you want to do, just send us an email. Shoot us an email. Shoot us an email. Email, email, email. Oof, blessing, Ada. Um, when is your visa interview? But you've gotten your I-20. What program are you coming for? Operational management. Do we have operational management? Do we have operational management? I'm just asking. I'm asking you. Yeah, you're major, but you need a concentration. So let me help. Okay, so let's you see, and you never talked about it. So let's go back and check. And that's one thing I always mention about to be able to identify and get yourself familiarized with your program. Because if you don't, you see, what if the visa officer you're talking to is one of our alma mater and he knows much about it? Answer me. What would you do? Okay, don't worry. Let's. Can you see my screen? Let's sort this MBA. Okay, so once you come here, we have concentrations. So these are the concentration the school work with: business analytics, management, marketing. Now, this won't come out in your I-20. So if you say organization operation of the word, you are okay, you're good because your concentrations won't come in your I-20. The visa officer will only see MBA. But why I always advise students generally to put their concentration when they are talking is because MBA can be done in your country. So whatever course you're picking, talk about why is it that important for you to have it abroad? Why not in your country? They won't ask you that. They might even ask you that way. But in your head, you are answering, you're limiting business. You pick business analytics, you pick management, you pick marketing. Because what the visa officer is going to put to you is MBA. Well, MBA is general. Anybody can have MBA. It can be done in your country. Why is it so important to do it in the US? I hope I've been able to. So if I'm not picking people randomly like that, you have issues and you're not talking. Okay, all the best. You'll be fine. You'll be all right. You're welcome. Um, I'm trying to check one another person. Who else is not talking since? No, I'm talking. Albert is saying every week all the best. Um, well, if I have the energy, why not? I can do it. Well, um, thank you very much, guys, for joining today's section. We've come to the end of today's program. I hope you guys have been able to enjoy the breakfast and the services. Thank you all for choosing Carolina University. We appreciate on behalf of the Director of Admission, we appreciate students and we are still open for admission for the spring 2024. The closing date for fall is still July 15, and for new applicants, you are free to submit your application to Carolina University. The admission is stress free. Carolina University is located in the city of Winston Salem. Carolina University is a Christian private university, and we have both our undergraduates, the masters, and the doctorate, as well as the associate degree. And the tuition is actually affordable as graduate assistantship or general opportunities. This is based on your scholarship, and I use this to welcome you guys in advance to Carolina University. Thank you for choosing us. Sincerely, we appreciate. If you have any question, concern, feel free to reach out to me via email. Put urgent as a subject, and we'll always communicate and communicate and communicate. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye bye.